So it's not just gonna be today. It's gonna be MJ and I here today talking about storytelling. So I think a lot of small businesses, they don't really take this opportunity to tell their own stories and really adapt the idea of branding, storytelling, branding, storytelling.
Brand storytelling.
Brand storytelling into their businesses, especially a lot of online businesses that I see today. We have this very common culture or very common practice where we prefer to be anonymous. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and I'm sure in your experience also you've met with a lot of people, a lot of business owners or even clientele where they're pretty much reluctant in telling their own stories, where you want to mind the stories from their brand, but they're like, nah, I prefer not to tell that. I prefer not to share this, my own experience. I prefer to be, like general. Do you have any experience in that? Like, have you ever have that kind of conversation with anyone?
Yeah, right. So yeah, actually that's like the biggest problem when it comes to like a human nature itself. Like we are more likely to be anonymous when it comes to like opening up to other worlds, as in like in the web right now. So when it comes to like other brand owners, like some brand owners, like they usually, it happens like they like to be anonymous. They don't want to be on the big picture of there, but as a background, as in like they will be like controlling everything, and other guys will be like doing other stuff. I think that's like the biggest mistake. Even though like it doesn't even matter whether the business like brand is online or not, like offline or like both, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. So basically what we're saying is, and I hope MJ agrees with me as well, that storytelling is one of the human element that could give you that, the necessary human touch into your branding, don't you
right,
think? Especially when you're selling service, because it's one thing about selling products, like physical products. For example, if I'm selling this accessories or a piece of earbuds, like people would kind of, and I guess this could be a question as well, where like, you know, when you're selling products, people would focus more on what you're selling and what's good about it, the features, specific, the specs and everything, and branding and storytelling might be kind of second in that sense. But if you're selling services, that might be differ from what I just told you, right? Don't you think? Because like when you're selling services, I guess the first word that comes to my head would be trust.
right,
Did you think like
yes,
trust? So
yes.
like, how do you build that trust? And I guess since we're talking about storytelling, storytelling is one of the human element or human touch that could develop or strengthen that relationship with
Mhm.
your
Yeah.
consumers, with the clientele. Don't you think?
Comes around to like value, giving value to your followers, to your audience. And then once you give something for free and they like it, and it's like you just don't end it there at the first time. You give something, for example, let's say you give an ebook, right? You have selling services in, let's say, marketing. So you're like printing ebooks, you're like posting nice posts about tips and all the stuff, but you just don't stop there, right? So it's basically like 9 to 10 rule, as in like you give nine content value, or like nine anything like in forms of value, and at the 10th you ask something from them. So in
Mm.
that point, it will be like basically you building a trust, as in you showing yourself as an expert in that field, and you are
Yep.
good enough for them to trust you, to trust their business, to trust their whatever their service they're offering.
Yeah, I mean that's storytelling in branding. But when like, it's easy to say that, oh, you need branding, storytelling, you need to tell stories for your brands and stuff like that. It's easy to say that. I mean, I can just simply tell people, like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to tell stories within your brand in order to have like, this kind of branding and stuff like that, how to be different than other people. It's easy to say that. uh, but even I myself, sometimes I'm a bit struggling, like, how do you tell stories? Like, what kind of stories can I tell? And how do you mine stories for your brand, for the brand itself? How do you mine? Who are you supposed to talk to? You know what I mean?
So basically, when it comes to usual storytelling, like actually brand storytelling has the elements of visual storytelling too, but in sense of it's mixed up with the marketing. So let's like look first like to the usual storytelling. So basically, as we see like Pixar, like cartoons, like animation movies, or like
Mm.
anything else, like Warner Brothers, like the. So basically, all the movies have their own story, as in with the
Yep.
character starting up, and they have a problem, right? So on the way they have a problem and audience is looking, oh, okay, he got a problem. What's he gonna do? What's gonna happen next? So basically, all the elements are built up in the way that audience will be waiting for the next point, what's going to happen in the next step, like what happens to the character, right? So
Right.
after that,
This goes back
character,
to the fundamental of like, the beginning, the middle, and the ending of stories, right? Yeah.
yes, yes,
Yep.
right, yeah. So and after that, character he identifies a problem, but that's in the usual storytelling, right? But when it comes to the brand storytelling, there are problems, external and internal problems. But your character in your brand storytelling is your customer. So basically, you will have to know your customer. Like maybe you will have to make your customer know that they are the character of the story, and they will be having an external problem and internal problem. And in that case, businesses and brands will be focusing on the internal problem, which is most likely to hit the emotions of the people. As in, like something usual can example be like as I usually recently I posted the Starbucks post. As in,
Right.
like
Yeah.
this the external and the internal is like a good example there. As in, being like external is like people who just want the coffee. They don't care about the brand. They don't care about like what's gonna happen with the uh, they don't care about the brand on the cup, right? They don't care. This is because they want coffee. That's the external problem. Someone wants to drink coffee. So when it comes to like internal problem is someone wanting a comfort, someone wanting a comfortable place to sit at, someone wants a comfortable place to enjoy, to have time together with the friends. As in, like Starbucks way more succeed on that. As in taking this like half a bucks at coffee and making it like 5 or 6 bucks and just like earning a profit because of they're solving the internal problems of the customers with the
Then
help of
can
you, with the
can then
help of you.
if that's the case, can I say that, it's a good story, it's a good storytelling if you could get people to engage with it. I mean, that's typical, right? Like,
Yep,
people
yep.
to engage with good stories anyway. But I guess like ultimately you do want to have a storytelling that kind of also at the same time solves people problem.
Hmm. Exactly,
Where it
exactly.
solves
Yeah.
people like your consumers problem, and also having your consumers to engage with the stories in different ways, I suppose.
Right, right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like yeah, that's how it is because like when you give like storytelling, it's something customers can relate. As in like for example, I remember reading about like one mattress company back in US, back in the days actually like 20th century. So they were doing a marketing campaign. They just like started with a simple sentence, like I know you're tired. It can be because of your bed, and you will be going tired to your work. You will lose your productivity. Your boss will be very bad, like very sad and like very furious about it, and you
Right.
will lose your job. And after that, you won't have any money. So basically, it's just coming up and going up and going up. So basically, you will be thinking like, oh my God, I need to get the mattress. So that's
Mm.
something people can relate to. That's how it's like storytelling itself, like just like usual example, like can lead to more like engagement and more like sales. So it's like a storytelling, simple example of it, like how can you use.
Right. So I guess we shouldn't be like prolonging this session, this podcast session, because it's getting a little bit too chatty, I suppose. So we don't want we don't want to go that direction. So yeah, I guess we can end this session, podcast session with MJ, by asking you, like, I mean, I've read a lot of articles and like small quick articles on how can you create a successful ways on brand storytelling, but if you guys don't know this, MJ is a book nerd. He reads a lot of books, especially about marketing, businesses and branding and stuff like that. Even storytelling, he was obsessed with this kind of books. So I guess it's my turn to kind of test you. Like, can you give me 3 successful ways on how to do brand storytelling? Like the best way you can do in order to do brand storytelling.
Okay, so firstly, I think first of all, it's focusing on the emotions. Okay, so
Emotions.
focusing on the emotions and empathy. Second point, actually this is like a mistake all the businesses do. You have to like narrow down the customer's ambition to the single focus. And the third one, I think people mostly forget to focus on the internal problems rather than the external. As in, like,
Internal
of course,
problems.
like, yeah, right. As I explained with the Starbucks case, for
Mm,
example, you and me, yeah, we need clothes. We'll need to buy clothes, right? But we don't just like go to the nearby clothing store or clothing like any shop, right? we have specific something in mind. For example, for Malaysians, I think it's mostly like can be Uniqlo, right? So I'm not sure like what brand like your people go with, but the thing is like when specific regions they have like specific something in their mind, right? So they would be going to that specific brand because they already solve the internal problems of the people. Maybe it can be in that case it's not external problem will be like me needing clothes. Internal problem will be me needing warm clothes or something in a cheap price. I'm a student, something in a cheap price and a good quality, or something that's made of a specific material that won't harm, like, but that won't be harmful in a sunny days, in a hot days, for example. That can be internal focus to internal problem to focus on for the businesses. That's the third point to include in your like storytelling.
Right. So to simplify it, so it's emotion,
Yes.
and
Yes.
what's the what's the other one? Emotions
Second one,
and
narrow down to a single focus, a single product or service.
personalized, I guess that's how you can say it. Like
Yeah,
emotions
can,
and
yes.
personalized, and
Yeah.
then the last one is the internal problem, like internally, like
Internal
how you can
focus on
actually,
internal problems. Yes.
yeah, like before you going out, like I guess to simplify that last point internally, guys, is pretty much saying, um, before you go outside from your own office to solve other people's problem, you can look at internally how you can actually solve your internal problems, and that may bring a lot of impact to your brand itself. Don't you think?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
it's freaking awesome. It's freaking awesome. Thanks MJ for like spend 1 hour of your time. This video not gonna be
No,
1 hour.
problem.
It's gonna be shorter than that. But yeah, we've been talking for like an hour and like appreciate it. I'll probably see you around soon. And have more talk with you in another Chatty Zucchini session.
For sure. Yeah.
And yeah, we might gonna invite the other team as well on board, because like I like to talk, but I don't like to talk about myself because I'm not a very interesting person to begin with. I'm not as interesting as
No.
MJ. He reads a lot of books. I have a very
Yeah.
limited general knowledge, I suppose. Right.
It's something they have something interested in. I think that's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks to MJ. Thanks for like, spare a bit of a time talking to me and accompanying me to do this podcast. And by the way, guys, if you have like, any topics that you like us to talk about, anything that kind of like, if you have some sort of curiosity about anything at all, a topic, or if you have a problem that you want to solve, but you've been having problems with it, or even like based on today's podcast, how do you even tell stories? How do you write stories? How do you ask people to tell their stories to you, for you to which goes back to that storytelling, story mining, I suppose. Like, yeah, if you guys have any curiosity, you guys want us to talk about anything at all, just drop a comment, message, or anything. Reach us out. We try to we'll work it out. We find a way to to help you out in a way. Because we're still learning. Like I guess me personally, I don't know about MJ here. I'm still learning myself as well, because this like a lot of things are still new to me. I'm still getting used to it, so I have a lot of questions still. So yeah, surely you guys have some. So yeah, drop a comment, reach us out if you have anything. If you hate us, if you like us, drop a message. I don't care. And yeah, if you like the video, give it a like, subscribe to the video, subscribe our channel, and share it. Please share it if you have a bit of time to spare. And yeah, I guess till next time. Ciao, guys.